try and make this so not gloom and doom as everybody is thinking that this might be right here. But obviously this is something that's going to be very important for us to talk about here. We talked about planning procedures and going through that stuff, thinking about it beforehand. That is going to be key. This is the reason why we're doing this. Nobody likes to talk about this. Nobody likes to think about this. Nobody thinks that it can happen here. This is the reason why you have to do it, because as was said before, if you're trying to think your way through these things while it's happening, it's not going to happen. You're going to go into what we call code black. You're going to, like we like to say, sit in the corner, suck your thumb, and hope nothing happens to you. I'm going to try and let you know that I'm going to give you stuff so that you can go home and see your family after this. That's the whole key to this whole thing right here. So, a little bit about myself. Can I take this microphone? Is that going to be? You're going to find out I have a little bit of ADD, and I like moving. So I'll keep it down here. I'm sorry, that's going to, I'll try and, I hate being stuck to here, but so I will overcome that with my loud command presence.
You're making it look bad, Chief.
I have just about 25 years with the Rochester Police Department. I have made it all the way up through the ranks. I'm Deputy Chief. Currently the Chief's out of town, so I'm actually the acting Chief. So if I have to run out of here, I'm sorry, but I think we'll be good with it here today. 16 years on the SWAT team. I was the SWAT commander the last 3 years that I was out there. Did everything from undercover to street crimes to patrol. 21 years in uniform, doing all that stuff. Trained with everybody around the world, including some of the people that might have taken Mr. Osama bin Laden out. So having a good time right there. I thank the Rochester Police Department for giving me all the opportunities to go everywhere and learn about all this stuff and actually train with this stuff here. So this is one of my passions. I've been an instructor with the department since 1996, I think. So it's this is something that I really, truly enjoy. So I'm going to try and get through this stuff as quickly as possible. There's a lot of stuff, but I'm going to try and get the stuff that you guys can sit there and remember, and we can get through here, right here. Active killer awareness. Define it, what do we have right here? Individuals actively engaged in killing or attempting to kill people in confined or populated areas. School, campuses, public gathering areas, workplaces. In most cases, active shooters use firearms and no pattern method to their selection of victims. It can happen anywhere. Think about this as workplace violence, and it can be anything. We don't have to think about the individuals that took over Columbine High School way back when. We can think about somebody that is having a domestic, and they have a disgruntled husband or wife or partner that wants to come over here and settle something. That's the easiest way I can think about this. Anybody who's coming inside here and anybody gets in their way, they're going to take care of business. So this is what we talk about. That's what active shooters are, or active killers. Incidents by locations, we talk about this. You can go through it here, and let me get out of the way so you can actually see it. You don't have to look through my big head. Commerce, 46. Healthcare, right after that, 24. So I have to say commerce and healthcare are kind of close to what we're talking about right here. That's going to be the biggest one. Everybody thinks schools, everybody thinks military, and he thinks the churches. No, this is where it happens, right here. Most incidents are stopped by means other than law enforcement. I hate to say it. Sometimes getting us to locations, in a situation like this, you say somebody's actively shooting or killing people inside a location, you're probably going to have more cops than you've ever seen in your life, including federal, sheriffs, local law enforcement is all going to be here. This is going to be, including the fire department, including ambulances, everything is all going to be right here. But most of the time what happens is it's not the police officers that are actually engaging this person and actually taking them out. We've gotten very good around the country dealing with these things, and we've seen them all around, especially like San Bernardino really comes to mind, where we talk about the Pulse nightclub down in Orlando. You hear about that. But there's a lot of damage that can happen by the time we get there. We use an axiom of one for every minute that goes by, one person is killed. So it behooves us to be able to think through these situations, think through these active killer situations, and actually have this plan and know what we have to do. That's why we work with these with your EDNA procedures. Getting those out there and doing those tabletop exercises, thinking about what you need to do, and actually surviving through that. Talking about these plain language things. So if I say, if it comes through EDNA Purple, and people are going, what is that? What do I have this right here? You don't have the time to think. We learn, especially in shooting situations, that all those gross or those fine motor skills go out the window. And you have to just use gross motor skills. We talk about as far as officers in shooting situations. We get that tunnel vision, that auditory exclusion. Everything that goes on, we can't manipulate our weapons. All I can do is point that weapon and squeeze and try and think through that process, because our minds are in so much overload going through and trying to process information. Same thing with here. If you don't think about this and all of a sudden somebody's inside there and trying to do harm to all of you, a lot of times you're going to become in that, what I talked about, getting that overload and sitting in that corner sucking your thumb. And that's what I'm trying to avoid right here. So that's what we're talking about. Off and over within 8 to 12 minutes. Now that's everything. 8 to 12 minutes, meaning the minute the person comes through the first door until the time that the actual law enforcement has the place secured, threat neutralized, and then locked down. So that's 8 to 12 minutes. It may seem like that's a long time, but I'm going to tell you that, time's going to fly when all this stuff is actually happening. Unpredictable, it'll evolve quickly. Decisions made or not, or action taken or not, will have a direct impact on survival. That's what we're trying to do, give you options. Don't just sit there and say, all I know what to do is just shut my door and hope for the best. No, absolutely not. We can do more for that. We have no accurate profile of attacker. Hate to say it, single white males in the room. We're kind of going through profile that the FBI, looks at, the ones who are going to lose their minds, and kind of go through all this stuff right here. So, I just hate to say it, that's kind of what it is. Prior behaviors. Obviously, we like to do a lot of work up on what happens, but there's usually indicators that happens that's going to sit there and give us an idea that something might happen with this individual. And we do a really pretty good job with the law enforcement to actually try and keep on top of this stuff. Workplace violence indicators, difficulty coping with a loss or a failure. I mean, we have that every day. And I would assume that you probably have that here, especially with a lot of the individuals going through a lot of health situations and everything that goes on. So people, come to us and they are in a lot of dire situations. And you know what? Sometimes they may feel that it's hopeless. And this is the reason why, sit there. That's why we're here to try and help people. Get them through that, and it's a good thing that you're doing, sir. So hopefully we're giving them, you guys are actually giving them a little bit more hope here, and you're definitely doing a good job. Considered suicide. You deal with that every day. Felt bullied, persecuted. Seems kind of some indicators of a lot of people that we might actually come in contact every day. Access to use of weapons. I'm hoping that you don't have somebody that's coming in here with access to use of weapons every day, but you have to look at for that. Preoccupied with creating a high body count, that's what these people are trying to do. They're looking to sit there and get their name in the annals of history. They want to actually sit there and say, hey, you know what, everybody remembers, you say Columbine, did you ever hear of Columbine before? Or Aurora, or Pulse nightclub. Those things stick with us, and that's what they're trying to do. They're leaving their legacy. They don't care about what happens, but they're going to leave their legacy. We don't remember the names so much to speak, but remember the locations. And we obviously don't want to make sure, we want to make sure that Trillium is not the next one right there. So they almost never take hostages and do not negotiate. Absolutely not. Overwhelmingly male, median age 35. Okay, single attack, 98% of the time. Very rarely will you see what we call a coordinated attack or a multi-attack or anything else. Most likely it's just going to be these lone wolf. These people that are loners, they're the ones outside on fringes of society. They're the ones they realize that they're dealing with their own little inner demons inside. Broad range of tactical sophistication. You can go everything from you got Dylan and Clevo of Columbine that actually were actually trying to make weapons. You have Cho from Virginia Tech who actually had was going through doing a lot of training right there. To Newton, Connecticut, where he just was able to get a hold of his mom's rifle and decided he was going to go take care of business. Members of the community they target, all depends on who their circles are, who they actually walk around through. And I apologize, I'm going fast. I'm just trying to get through all this stuff right here, so we go through here. Can occur with prior altercation or grievance. Mitigation strategies, 3 Ps, preparation. It's what we're doing today. It's what we're doing now. You're talking about it, you're thinking about it. Actually, just talking about it is more than most people do in society. If you look inside your room, look inside your office, look inside your workspace and all that stuff, and think about what can I use as a weapon, what can I use as an escape route, what can I use as a hiding place. If you're just doing that, you're well ahead of the game. You're ahead of about 90% of different corporations in the Rochester area. So I'm going to tell you, having me here today and actually talking about this stuff is awesome. You guys are well ahead of the bell curve. Planning, we're obviously doing that too. And then prevention. Prevention, going through your ETA processes and going through there and making them easy for people to remember. That is awesome. Putting the new pull boxes, putting all that stuff in place. Thinking about it, doing something about it, being proactive, but not being scared. That's the key. Our emergency action plan should be perspective equals dynamic, fluid, unpredictable. Murphy's Law will come into effect. The best laid plans are awesome until that first shot is fired. And then all plans go out the window. So you can plan, you can have all the greatest things in the world. I look at it, it's almost football season. You see that coach, first of all, he's planning his first 4 plays and all that stuff, and all of a sudden something happens. His quarterback, running back gets hurt in the first couple plays, and all of a sudden now he's got to throw that all out the window. So you think about it that way. Simple, flexible, adaptable, accessible. Make it simple. People want to have a blueprint of success. Tell me what I need to do in this situation. I can't. I can only give you suggestions, because I can't tell who is going to be in that situation. You're going to react different than you're going to react. And I can't, and some people will sit there and say, I don't care what you say, I won't be able to do something. Okay, no problem. I understand that. I'm going to try and give you something for that. Or you might have somebody in the back sit there and says, yep, absolutely, let me at him. Those are the people you're like, all right, come with me. I got a job for you. Informed and instinctive decision making. That's what we're trying to do. Give you all the information in the world. I'm not going to tell you to run right into the path of somebody holding an AK-47. I'm not going to send you to your death. That's not your job. So I'm going to try and give you some different options right here. Provide some order to what will, but it will be chaos. Especially when you pull that 911 sign and you start to get that stuff. The worst thing I talk about this is, I keep on going back to these because they're most well known. Columbine. Columbine, it looked, you talked about what they actually did. The problem was, is it used to be everybody pulls a fire alarm, and that was going to alert everybody what's going on. When you pull the fire alarm, especially because they had the bombs going off, you had sprinklers going off. And if anybody's ever been in a commercial location where a fire alarm goes off, it's a bit loud and annoying, and it makes it almost impossible for you to talk to your coworkers right there. So trying to think about that, you've got linoleum floors, you've got sprinklers going off, trying to walk through there without falling on your, as my grandmother would say, keister, and doing that and trying to communicate while those fire alarms are going off. Almost impossible. Holtz nightclub. We have a lot of officers that went through there. I just got done talking with Chief Mina about a month ago, getting the whole layout of what actually happened inside there. His officers had a lot of PTSD, and you know what it's from? Cell phones ringing. Because as this is done, and we're locking down the location, because it's now becoming a crime scene, and everybody in the country is going to want answers. So the FBI is going to be inside here, the county sheriffs, the state police, everybody else is all going to be over here. And we have to treat this as a crime scene, because if I have 5 people that were killed, I want to bring justice to those 5 families. And if the active killer is still alive, we have to be able to successfully prosecute that person. So we can't touch the crime scene. And what happens? You hear, all of a sudden people start hearing something's going on in Trillium. What are they doing? They're calling their loved ones. They're calling you. And the phone just keeps going and going and going and going and going for hours. Because that scene, Pulse nightclub, they had it locked down for 1 full week. Eventually, when the phones died, that's when the ringing stopped. Kind of bring a little perspective to it. Okay, so you think about that. I'm sorry to bring it down. Now let's bring it back up. Input from several stakeholders, that's what we're trying to do. I can only lend my expertise. I don't have the institutional knowledge of how you guys do business on a day-to-day basis. So you have to rely on your people here that are doing this stuff, and we can actually get them to walk through these situations. Site-specific. Every place is going to be different. And then validated. I can say that the same training that we're doing is the same training that's going to be around the country. So this has been validated. This is used. We study this stuff. We study every situation that happens. And when something new happens, we use that. We learn lessons about what worked and what didn't work. Should include expedient reporting notification process. You got those, you're starting to get that in place. Run, hide, fight, avoid, deny, defend, a couple different things that you want to think about. Lockdown, lockout, evacuate. Whatever your terminology is going to be, this is what you want to sit there and get used to it and get familiar with it. Safe rooms, you might have those here. Administrative, backup plan, post-incident. That's the biggest thing too. You talk about this and that'll be your second step. After we go through this, you start going through your tabletop exercises. Post-incident. How do you put Trillium back to work? How do we start to get back to helping the people that we're helping today? How do we put our employees back together? And how do we support our employees and their families afterwards? Those are things that we want to think about as far as our follow-on action plans after that. Priorities. Include determine the most reasonable way to protect your own life. You got to protect yourself, I'm sorry. Just like being on an airplane. They talk about when the oxygen mask comes down, put your mask on first. Because if you don't put your oxygen mask on, you pass out and you can't help anybody. So help yourself. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but you got to save yourself in this one right here. Make immediate notified initiated action plan. We're working on that. Time is critical. Already talked about it. Response models, we got layers of onions. Run, hide, fight. That's going to be the core of everything we're talking about right here. Lockdown, lockout, and evade. That's going to be if we got somebody out in the parking lot or out in the surrounding areas and all that stuff. That's what we want to talk about. How do we lock these doors? We have Securitas there. Will they be able to help us? Will they be able to lock the doors up? Will they be able to alert our employees that might be coming into the parking lot? These are things we want to think about also. Run. If there's an accessible escape plan, attempt to evacuate the premise. Absolutely, everybody remembers Tom Hanks, run, Forrest, run. Absolutely. So if you guys haven't been doing your run and your exercising, get used to it. Get out there and get ready to go. Hide. Obviously, evacuation is not possible. Find a place to hide where the active shooter is less likely to find you. Again, this is a nice thing about it. If there's a person that's come inside here and maybe, I'm your husband and we're going through a bad divorce and I want to sit there and I'm pissed off at you. If I've never been here, I don't know the layout of the building. I might know where your office is or anything else, but I'm running through here to try and find you. It's going to be hard to actually make my way through this maze. So having this institutional knowledge is great. So if you can hide or you know places in this building that are good places for you to lock out and keep yourself safe, think about that. If there's something going on here, nothing says that people on the other side of that wall can't sit there and run and get outside of the building. You don't have to hide in your office and sit there and say, I hope he doesn't come to me. That's what we talk about. That's why I can't tell you to say, hey, you know what, just lock your door and hope for the best. No, we can't do that. So you have to think about those. And then hide. If you're hiding out, remain calm and quiet. Silence your cell phone and or pager. Pager. Does anybody have pagers anymore? Unless you're a volunteer fireman, maybe? Oh, okay. They do. Cool. Turn off any source of noise. Obviously, hide. You want to be quiet. Hide behind large items, cabinets, desks. Know the difference, and I hate to say it, know the difference between cover and concealment. What's going to stop a bullet and what's not. Think about it right there. Will this actually stop a bullet? Absolutely will not. Absolutely will not. Will this stop a bullet? Absolutely will. So think about this, and you have to sit there, and if you have to do Google search and say, will this piece of wood stop a 45 caliber? I don't know. I mean, if you're bored, think about that. But you have to know what the difference is. Cover and concealment. Cover will keep you from having more holes in your body than you woke up with. Concealment will just let you hide. Play hide and seek. Think about it that way. Dial 911 if possible. Obviously, you got the pull cords. If you can pull those work great. If you can't speak, leave the line open, allow the dispatcher to listen. Awesome. That's perfect right there. Just dial 911. You don't have to say a thing. We're coming. Because the minute you dial 911, you hit that green button to send, that's going right to 911. And you can just leave it there and listen. You need to go 100%. As simple as that. If you decide that your life is more important than that other person's life, you have to think about it. And think about it in realistic terms. Will you be able to do that? Will you be able to sit there and gouge somebody's eye out? Will you be able to bite their ear off like Mike Tyson? This is reality. And that's what If this person is going to try and kill you, you have to think about, will I be able to do that? If you can't, that's no problem. You're a good person in society. Thank you very much. If you can do that, you can actually put yourself in that mindset and think about that and actually not be able to beat yourself up if I take the life of another person in dire situations. That's good. You're a sheepdog. That's the person that we want. That's who we have those. All right, disrupt or incapacitate the killer. Act as aggressively as possible against him and her. If you're going to sit there and swing something at them, you swing with like you're Barry Bonds trying to hit the ball out of the park. Don't worry about, I just want to hurt him a little bit. Hell no. That's like, the Jason or the horror movies where you stab him once and you just stand there and cry. Are you kidding me? You're defending yourself. It's legal. You can do that. Consider using improvised weapons, and you have to sit there and think about it. Look at things, and I hate to say it, but it's kind of, it's my sickness. I look at it, okay, can I use that as a weapon? I usually always have a gun on me anyways, but if there's something inside here, you have to think about what can I do to actually use as what kind of weapon. Commit to your actions. Your life depends on it. That's the best way I can sit there and talk about it. Your life depends on it. Do not leave. I'm not going to leave my life to chance to anybody else. And that's what you have to sit there and think about. I want to go home to my family. I want to hug my kids. I want to hug my partner. I want to do that. I want to sleep in my bed tonight. And nobody's going to take my life or change my life in any way. I'm going to do that. That's what you have to sit there and think about right there. Individual response options, run, hide, fight. If you want to, you can actually go on the website and actually type in Google and say run, hide, fight video. It's like a 6-minute video. It's a great video that was actually put together by Houston Houston Central School District. Very good. Very, very, very good. You can actually look at it yourself. Like I said, it's only 6 minutes, and it's a very professional video and kind of shows you the same stuff that we're talking about here, but it kind of puts it in a nice, pretty Hollywood picture for you. Right there. What information should be provided law enforcement? Let me know where he is. Is he on the first floor or second floor? That's awesome. If I know he's on the second floor, I can get my reaction team in here quick, and I can actually go drive right towards where that shooter is, and I can go through there. Barricaded or mobile, I want to know about that. Let us know direction of travel, number of killers, if there's more than one, physical description, all that good stuff. Be the best witness possible. And just let me know where it is and let me go do my job. Or me and my officers go do their job. That's what we're going to do. First officers on scene will not stop to help the injured. I hate to say it, my job is going to neutralize that threat. If you're down here, I'll ask you, are you okay? Yup. If you're crying or you're screaming, you're still breathing. I'm walking by because we're going to sit there and find that person to make sure that they're not killing other people. While we're doing this, there's going to be follow-on teams. We're going to be kind of like the tip of the spear going to actually address the threat. All my follow-on teams are going to be coming through here doing all that first aid and doing all that stuff. We are the first department actually in the state. I've actually sent the police department and the fire department to the state preparedness site down in Oriskany, New York, and we send the police and fire department work together. We actually used to be fire department stays outside in what we call the cold zone because they don't have guns or vests and all that stuff. RPD and between RPD and RFD, we just got some great grant money to get them ballistic vests and ballistic helmets, so that we can actually bring them in the war zone, in the warm zone, as they say it. So I may be dealing with the active shooter down that hall right here, but I can actually get AMS and fire and everybody in here to actually deal with this. Now, they were a little uneasy at first, but if I'm standing there with an M4, I got 4 or 5 M4s pointing down that range, nothing's gonna hurt you, I got you. So they can actually work and be safe that way right there. So just realize that. I'm gonna have first aid in here as quickly as possible, not like it used to be right there. Expect several more teams to arrive and deploy. Some teams, rescue teams, have been tasked with treating, removing injured persons. Able-bodied individuals may be called upon to assist. I'm looking for those sheepdogs. If somebody says, I'm here, what do you need help with? Perfect, I'm going to get you a job for you. Putting that scene together. This may be a couple hours, maybe half a day before you actually leave, because I need to get depositions, I need to get statements, we need to do that. That's the stuff that they don't show on NYPD Blue and all the rest of that stuff. This is putting it all together afterwards right here. Crime scene where legal protocols, rules of evidence apply. That's what we talk about.